Coming to you live from our studios here in Kokomemle. My name is Sweetie Abochi. Coming up, Joy News checks reveal Chinese miners continue to contaminate Tano River with the tailings at Samboy in the western region, despite continuous reports of direct washing of mining waste into the river. We'll bring you more on this. Also, Fix the Country movement demands resignation of Land and Natural Resources Minister as they serve notice of hitting the streets to demand an end to illegal mining. As usual, we've got business news, sports news and showbiz in this one-hour package. You can catch us live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. You want to stay with me for details. To begin with, Joy News can confirm that Chinese miners continue to contaminate the Tano River with their tailings at Samboy in the western region, despite continuous reports of direct washing of mining waste into the river. Close to 2 years after our reports of Akunta Mining Limited polluting the Tano River, our team has captured recent footage of mining activities along the river with poisonous mining residue. Love FM's Erastus Osaridonko went back to Samboy to gauge the situation and now reports.
In 2022, Joy News captured this mining site belonging to Akunta Mining Limited, whose mining residue was being directed into the Tano River.
First, anywhere you reach in the forest or at bush, you just get a stream, you sat down there and drink, but now you can't get those streams. So in fact, our river bodies all has destroyed.
Just behind you is the Tano River. How do you feel when you see it?
In fact, how does the government feel?
Subsequently, we also captured some Chinese miners washing mining residue into the Tano at Boya and Bena, close to Samboy in the western region. Close to 2 years after our report, the criminal act is still being perpetrated by miners along the Tano River. Alhaji Salisu Muhammad Abu is an opinion leader at Samboy.
If you look at the way the government has left people, government saying that he will put his presidency on Galamsey, illegal mining. In fact, it's rather worse. This is a campaign regime. We have been hearing promises, but we have no future. These forests and our water reserves. People are saying in 10 years' time or 5 years' time. Never. If this will continue, at least in 2 years' time, a change of government will come and this will still continue. I don't think we have future Ghana.
This footage shows a mining site located on the edge of the Tano River, washing its residue directly into the river at Samboy. The river is highly polluted. Tests conducted by our team registered 0.346 and 0.187 milligrams per liter for arsenic and chromium, an increase of 592 and 274% respectively, compared to World Health Organization's accepted levels of 0.050 milligrams per liter. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Osaridonko, Samboy, Western Region.
Meanwhile, Democracy Hub, organizers of the Fix the Country demonstration, is asking Lands Minister Samuel Jinapor to resign following his failure to end the illegal mining menace. Leaders of the group say they will be on the streets for 3 consecutive days to drum home the message to fix the illegal mining menace. But let's first connect with Erastus Osaridonko on Zoom to give us more on the updates from Samboy. Erastus, thank you so much for joining us. What more has come to light that is worthy to share with us this afternoon?
So we went back to gauge
the pollution of the Tano River since we went there during the filming of the Poison for Gold documentary. Now, in areas where we had filmed the other time, where Akonta mining was polluting the tunnel, along that line, we are seeing a number of mining expeditions along the tunnel that is perpetrating a more serious phenomenon since we went there. And you could see in the drone footage that we showed over there, you could see the mining operation pouring residue from the mining into the river tunnel. And at that particular point, you could see that the tunnel has gotten worse than we met it, last year. And so there are a number of operations just few meters from the tunnel. Some of them, they have even redirected the path of the Tano River, and they are using it to wash at one end, and they are directing the residue from the mining into the river at another end. More serious, and to me this is criminal because it violates government's own buffer zone policy. It violates a number of environmental regulations stipulated in our laws, which are punishable by custodial sentences. And so it is mind-blowing that anybody at all, the police, the district chief executive for the area, or the RESEC apparatus in that particular region will watch something like this to continue unabated.
Erastus, can you confirm that Chinese miners are still actively mining in these areas?
The mining site I just showed you in the drone footage are being operated by Chinese miners. We went there, we saw them, and we have footage of them driving the excavators themselves, contrary to our laws that foreigners should be engaged in mining itself on the ground. And so wherever we have gone within the Samboy area, there was another site close to the airstrip in Samboy town, which is manned by Chinese people. And when we asked them who owns the site, they said we should contact Akonta Mining. And so, yes, to answer your question, yes, now we are seeing more Chinese nationals taking over the mining operation itself, contrary to our mining regulations.
Thank you so much, Erastus Osaridonko, for bringing us up to speed. And still on the same issue of illegal mining, my colleague Blessed Suga monitored that news conference from Democracy Hub and joins us with more details. Blessed, thank you for joining us. And you monitored that news conference. What came to light?
Well, I think the country says they'll be embarking on a 3-day protest, and that, of course, they are doing as a result of the country's failure to fight illegal mining. Going forward, and the group believes that the Ministry of Lands and Maritime, the Ministry of Adult, should.
It appears we've lost Blessed, but Blessed, if you can hear me, I was asking you for updates on that news conference by Democracy Hub, who are threatening to hit the streets to force the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to resign. What more can you report?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
I was just indicating that the country says they are embarking on a 3-day protest. Their demand is for the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, together with EPA officials, to resign. A reason for which they held a press conference today, pointing out how growing the menace of illegal mining is, and the fact that they demand action to end all of this in the coming days. They believe that the president ought to act, and that very soon Ghana might be suffering adverse impacts of illegal mining.
Thank you so much, Blessed Suga. Well, other stakeholders have waded in the illegal mining conversation. One of them, the Center for Climate Change and Food Security, wants Parliament to criminalize ecocide, equating it with murder. The proposal highlights the urgent need for severe legal measures to combat environmental destruction and protect ecosystems that are vital to food security, public health, and economic stability. Dr. Alexander Intikani is Deputy Director of Research, Environment Environment and Climate Economics at the Center for Climate Change and Food Security, and he joins us via Zoom. Doc, thank you so much for joining us. Now, in your proposal, you equate ecocide with murder. What key factors led to this comparison, and how do you envision this impacting Ghana's legal system?
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to your listeners. Yeah, we believe that the issue of environmental destruction has gone beyond where our law should just keep it as a secondary issue, but should be equated with issues that has to do with crime, and that's why we are calling for the establishment or reenactment of this law, where we think that we should the Ghanaian legal frame should be reviewed to have this ecocide law established. Because what is going on, it's a mere, destruction, and it's heinous crime. It's not just the destruction of the environment, but also tied with humanity, the survival of humanity. So if we are looking at this issue tied to our environmental health as well as our human existence, that justifies the need for the enactment of this law that we think would help. Because more often when you look at what has happened over the years historically, people that are accustomed or put before the courts with related issues of illegal mining and these things are often given, just some small punishments or small fines. But the kind of destruction that is ongoing on, just look at the footage that you are showing on the screen.
Right.
This cannot be dealt with just 1,000 of Ghana cedis, but this is worth billions of cedis to get the environment back to its state as it was. And so we think that the legal frame should be reviewed to make it more punishable and more biting. And that's why we think it should be equated to murder, so that we see the destruction of our environment as a heinous crime. Then people would now rethink when they want to do and engage in such activities.
Thank you so much. And that there's Dr. Alexander Ntikani, the Deputy Director of Research, Environment and Climate Economics at the Center for Climate Change and Food Security. Away from Galamsey, workers of the National Commission for Civic Education are on strike. They are protesting the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission's failure to honor a 7-day ultimatum to reconvene negotiations for better working conditions for civic educators. Joy News' Fred Kwame Asari filed the following report.
The National Commission for Civic Education Division of the Public Service Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress tabled an increment for 5 existing allowances and the introduction of 2 new allowances before the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. The demands included an increase in the Civic Education Field Allowance, Public Engagement Allowance, Democracy Retention Allowance, Hardship Frontier Allowance, and District Directors' Duty Holders Accommodation Subsidy. The division requested the introduction of Professional Development Allowance and Fuel Allowance, out of which only the Professional Development Allowance was agreed upon after several negotiations. The division, however, rejected the approved 2% of the proposed 10% increment of the Civic Education Field Allowance and 100 Ghana cedis of the proposed 500 Ghana cedis increment for the accommodation subsidy. Clement Mamudu is the Volta and Oti Regional Chairman of the National Commission for Civic Education Division of the Public Service Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress.
And so we went into Georgia agreement and disagreement, and we gave them an ultimatum of 7 days that they should consult their employer. Fair Wages also has an employer, which is the government. They should go to the bigger employer and tell the bigger employer that they have come to us with the mandate that they have been given. But we say we disagree, we are not satisfied, it is disheartening, it is making our work not being recognized, especially with the volatile democracy that we have.
He announced an indefinite strike action decision taken by the National Executive Council.
So we are only telling you that from today, close of work 4 o'clock, tomorrow we do not want to see anybody at work. All offices are locked. We have informed the management of the regions together, and we expect that they also comply with us. So those who are in charge of locks, today when you close, go home with your locks. Those who are in charge of movable equipment, when you close, take full force of them we do not want the office to be operationalized, so that Fair Wages and Salary and Labor Commission and their employers will see the need to engage us more, so that all of us reach a core agreement and we come back together to work and protect the democracy, which is protecting all of us, especially the establishment of these two commissions and the government in general. Because without our talks, I don't think that the democracy will be protected for a government to be in place.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News. Ho.
Nearly 282 million people in Africa are undernourished, an increase of 57 million since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that's according to UNICEF. UNICEF also says more than 1 billion people are unable to afford a healthy meal currently, and the situation is projected to worsen if appropriate solutions are not found. Ivy Setterji is in Côte d'Ivoire, and she's among participants at a capacity building workshop alongside journalists from 17 other African countries, and she joins us via Zoom to get us more details. Ivy, tell us more about this workshop and what does it seek to address?
So the workshop is focused on educating journalists and communicators about micronutrient deficiency and the broader issue of undernutrition in Africa. It aims to build capacity and encourage more informed reporting on these critical health issues, while also highlighting the need for action from governments, health organizations, and other stakeholders.
The numbers we are getting seems alarming, to say the least. What are the experts saying about the issue? Any clear-cut guidelines to address it?
Yeah, so experts are emphasizing the importance of a multi-sector collaborative approach involving governments, the private sector, NGOs, and communities. They are advocating for interventions such as improving food systems, fortifying foods with essential nutrients, and raising public awareness as well. They are also stressing the urgency of addressing this now to prevent the situation from worsening in Africa.
Ivy, thank you. And we're looking forward to more reports from Côte d'Ivoire.
Yes, sir.
This is your election headquarters. It is 80 days to the December 7 general election, and the opposition National Democratic Congress has given the Electoral Commission a week's ultimatum to respond to its demands for a forensic audit of the 2024 voters register, or else the party will stage a series of demonstrations until election day, that is December 7. Elem Agbana is the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Ketu North, and he spoke earlier on News Desk.
The significance. So somebody will ask, the whole country, if 3,000 people, let's say only 3,000 people got their names missing or deleted from the register, can that have an impact on the election? Yes. As we speak today, there are 56 constituencies across the country where the NDC or the NPP won or lost with less than 5,000 votes. So in order to get majority in parliament, every single vote is important. Are you aware that there are many constituencies where those who are in parliament today won with a margin of either 63, 54, or even less than 100 across board? And so to have 3,000 people's names deleted from the register, almost 4,000, without their knowledge, is enough reason to even call for a forensic audit.
Now, there's a group called Eminent Persons, and they are calling for calm in the NDC and the EC saga. Reverend Paul Kebwafu joins us via Zoom now. Reverend, tell us more about what your demands are.
Good afternoon to you and your cherished listeners. The Eminent Persons group is made up of heads of religious bodies, and we have also come out with that statement calling for peace and calm, that we need to have patience and then to look at the issue dispassionately, come to the table with all our grievances, because that is the way to go about it. Having such strong stance will not help in any way. And that is why the appeal is going to all stakeholders. But this particular one, it is to the NDC and the EC who are now in this fray.
Thank you so much. That is from the Eminent Persons Group calling for an end to the NDC and EC standoff. Now, still on election, but on the other side, flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mamudu Bawumia, is outlining his plans for further developments, beg your pardon, economic stability and job creation. He's been touring Ada, Sege and Ningo Pampram constituencies, and Kenneth Jesse is with him, and he joins us with further details. Kenneth, what can you report from Ada?
Well, he just finished speaking at the Ada Agricultural Institute, where he's been telling his message to the people, telling them that he's the better alternative between him and money. In informing the
Kenneth, you'd have to reposition. We are struggling to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Let's go.
Yes, yes. I was talking about the fact that he's been telling his message to the people here, presenting himself as the better alternative between him and the former president, John Dramani Mahama. Told them not to make the mistake of voting for Mahama, and there's fans that they vote for students, those that he attacked. Also, when they're educated,
well, Kenneth, we cannot hear you, and we will reconnect with you in our subsequent bulletins, and apologies for that bad quality of sound. But moving on, if anyone had told me that 10 years ago I would be in a wheelchair today, I would have labeled him a false prophet. Words of former President John Agyekum Kufuor as he reminisces his days as a strong, abled man while advocating for an all-inclusive society for persons living with disability. Speaking at the maiden edition of Disability Conversation by the John Agyekum Kufuor Foundation, the former president, who supervised the passage of the Disability Act, echoed the need for an inclusive society where all persons, including those with disability, feel safe and protected. There's more in this report.
A 2021 report by the Ghana Statistical Service, approximately 8% of the Ghanaian population live with some form of disability, with a higher prevalence among females. Supreme Court Judge Justice Gabriel Poman says despite the fine laws to protect persons living with disabilities, their conditions continue to deteriorate.
I have not personally undertaken any social investigation to determine the extent of improvement or deterioration in the conditions of persons with disability in Ghana. However, the anecdotal evidence inexhaustibly leads to the conclusion that as a nation, we are very, very far from where we ought to be with the welfare of persons with disability. If we had implemented the policies contained in our laws effectively, the general welfare of persons with disability would have been uplifted higher than what we have today.
Former President John Agyekum Kufuor reminisced his days as a strong, abled man, saying if anyone had told him 10 years ago he would be in a wheelchair, he would have labeled him a false prophet.
If anyone had said just 10 years ago that I will today be here in a wheelchair, perhaps he would have been disputed and damned as a false prophet. But his prophecy is the reality today. I'm in a wheelchair, I cannot walk, and I need about 4, 5, 6 hefty men to be pushing me around like a baby.
The former president advocated an all-inclusive society for all, especially for persons living with disabilities.
We cannot leave any segment of our society behind. Let us appreciate our differences and our idiosyncratic inadequacies and develop the tolerance to accommodate each other as an integral part of the human race.
Some of the persons living with disability who have been able to break off the stigma and excel in their chosen fields shared their stories. Here's former Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Minister Henry Seydou Dana.
When I was called to the bar in 1997, it was all over the news. My first time to go to court, I was wearing peep, wig, gown. Yet, as I was entering, so I was being directed to where the lawyer sat. And somebody asked, where are you taking him to? Is he a lawyer?
The Disability Convention is aimed at demystifying disability and raising awareness on the struggles with stigmatization. James Kabila Bomfe is the lead organizer of the forum.
Disability conversations basically is about engaging in conversations about disability as a human condition, as we know it. Disability is not a taboo, but a competitive disadvantage to or for leadership in Ghana, contrary to widespread misconceptions that leadership positions taboo disability in this country.
The forum, organized by the John Ejekum Kufuor Foundation and the Right of Youth Disability Foundation, was on the theme Acceptance, Inclusion and Integration of Disability as a Difference in Diversity. Prince Kwame Kudoge's report for Joy News.
In other stories, the government has spent over 339 million Ghana cedis on the National Cathedral project, which has been at a standstill for some time. During the NDC's Enough is Enough demonstration in Accra, some protesters made a detour to the cathedral's construction site, which has been ridiculed for its current state, even serving as a makeshift swimming pool for some of these demonstrators. Now, the stalled project, despite the significant funds invested, has stirred public outrage. And in the midst of these controversies, Information Minister Fatima Abubakar has come to the defense of the project. She addressed the current state of the National Cathedral and the government's stance in an interview with me on women, power and politics.
To this day, anytime I go on Instagram and check the National Cathedral page, I see churches making donations. If it is in the interests of the population, which is largely Christian, that we have a single interdenominational edifice for national events, for national consciousness, also for tourism potentials, among others. If through fundraising, the Christian community were unable to mobilize as much, and government in the interest of the collective says, let us put in additional support to make sure we finish the projects. I don't think it is something that we say the cathedral money, it should have gone to this sector, when we know that if we dig, irrespective of whatever investment government has made in cathedral, you had the recent payment by NHIS for some selected hospital for dialysis. Yes. Over 500 million. So are we saying that you can pay for that, but the moment there are other priorities, we say, no, don't go there? It will not take anything for reporters or your journalists to approach the National Cathedral Secretariat and say, where has this money gone to? Construction in this modern day and age, it's not always about coming to see them lay brick and mortar. There are a lot of aspects of vertical development where they have to fabricate somewhere and then ship to site and start fixing. Okay. I know a lot of modern projects that are literally built before they are shipped into containers to come and arrange. It doesn't take anything to go to the secretariat and say, we have seen what is happening on the ground, but the money that was mentioned by the Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance when she went to Parliament to answer questions on the cathedral, we don't think the money that she mentioned is what is reflecting. Where is the money? What do you have? What are you doing elsewhere? If they say yes, we have contractors doing this work elsewhere, so that when they bring these products on site, it will take us a shorter time to just raise it. I'm saying even now, interchanges, they do the fabrication somewhere and just come to fix.
The Boko West districts of the Upper East region erupted in jubilation as Joy News Impact Makers Awards honoree Samuel Nana Bekai Jirako returned home to officially present his award to the people he has dedicated his life to serving. The founder of the Haven of Love Children's Foundation was honored with the prestigious Joy News Impact Makers Award in the Health and Social Welfare category, recognizing his selfless contributions to the community. Correspondent Albert Sori reports.
Samuel Nana Bekai Jirako's journey began in 2015 during his national service, where he developed a passion for giving back to the community. He mobilized friends to embark on various projects, eventually establishing the Haven of Love Children's Foundation in 2018. The foundation has since dedicated itself to community service, especially in organizing yearly health screening exercises and eventually becoming a beacon of hope for the less privileged in the Boko West and surrounding districts. Samuel was nominated for the Joy News Impact Makers Awards and in June this year was honored in the Health and Social Welfare category at the awards ceremony. He has finally returned home to Zebila to officially present the award before the people he has served through the Haven of Love Children's Foundation. Daniel Anania Atampuba is the district chief executive for Boko West.
And I'm not surprised that Haven of Love was judged as winner on social services and health because they have impacted so much in my district.
Members of the community praised Samuel Nana Bekai Jirako for his unwavering commitment to improving their lives.
We want to tell Joy News that God will bless them for giving this opportunity to our master.
He's very inspiring to me personally, because when he started this foundation, we didn't know where we were going to. He said that when we have a program, he said, "Me do this," and we thought he was stressing us. We didn't know the vision that was ahead, but today I've realized what he saw.
For Samuel himself, the Joy News Impact Makers Award can only spur him to do greater things for the community.
With this award, the award has shown to us and has given us visibility, and we appreciate Joy Impact Makers Award team for this honor. So I believe that if the young ones here have that same opportunity, we can as well get the next tech genius coming from the northern part of Ghana.
The occasion was also used to call for peace in the Boko West district, with the major political parties sending representatives to publicly commit to peaceful campaigns in the run-up to the December elections. For Joy News, Albert Sori.
On that note, let's take a break and we will return with business news.
A great afternoon to you and a warm welcome to the business segment on Joy News today with me, Pius Kojo Baka. Ghana's economy grew by 6.9% in the second quarter of 2024, according to provisional figures released by the Ghana Statistical Service. And this is compared to the first quarter of 2024. The economy grew by 4.7%. The services sector continues to be the largest contributor to the growth in quarter 2 of 2024 with 44.2%. This is followed by industry sector with a contribution of 32.2% and, of course, agriculture with 23.6%. We shall be bringing you more in our subsequent bulletins. The UK government has announced up to £2 million in funding to strengthen science, technology and innovation in Ghana and Nigeria. Lord Collins, UK Minister for Africa, made this known in a short ceremony to announce a call for proposals for the fund. Now, in his address, Lord Collins noted that the UK government will continue to support growing economies, especially in the area of green innovations and technology. More in this report.
The almost £2 million Sankori Fund is expected to support the UK government's partnership with the Ghanaian and Nigerian government on science, technology and innovation. It will facilitate the commercialization of innovative solutions and startups and enhance government's digital service policy and delivery. Speaking at a short ceremony in Accra to announce the fund and call for proposals, Lord Collins, UK Minister for Africa, explained that the initiative emphasizes the United Kingdom's commitment to support economic growth through technological innovation in West Africa.
And it gives me great pleasure to launch this Sankori call for proposals in partnership with the governments of Ghana and Nigeria. Named after the historic Sekolah University, that renowned medieval centre of learning, the fund will provide almost £2 million to strengthen technology and innovation across West Africa.
Minister for Transport Kweku Foriesiama lauded the gesture and reiterated government's pledge to ensure a sustainable environment by supporting e-mobility and other green startups to reduce CO2 emissions in the transport sector.
If we look at our environment, transport sector contributes almost about 30 to 40% of emission in Ghana. So this sector is very, very important. So if you have a company who is prepared to help decarbonize our environment, I think it's a laudable thing and it's something that we need to support. What I would say is that we need technological transfer. We have the human capacity. Our youth are very intelligent. What they need to do is to train them.
Kofa is one of the beneficiaries of the fund. It is a green energy startup which provides clean and affordable energy through swappable batteries. Its founder and CEO, Eric Nagard, explained that the company aims to replace millions of fossil-powered motorcycles in Africa with electric bikes.
Our focus here is on driving the vision forward to transform how energy is accessed, starting in Ghana, but we have plans to go all across Africa. Now, our batteries can be used for multiple things. You've seen the motorcycles outside, but they can also be used to power devices in homes and small businesses.
Sankori is part of the West Africa Research and Innovation Hub's accountable grant mechanism to support research and innovation systems in Ghana and Nigeria. The ceremony also witnessed the inspection of Kofa's battery replacement outlets by the UK Minister for Africa.
And that's it for business for now. I am Pius Kojo Bakadar. Will be at 1 p.m. with the marketplace. Sports is next.
Time now to bring you sports here on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. The board chairman of the National Sports Authority has taken over from the sacked Director General, Doji Numakevo. The board chairman, Seth Panwum, was asked by the President, Akufo-Addo, to take over and act instead, following the decision of the President to sack Mr. Numakevo after he rented out the Bawumia Sports Stadium for a church program that lasted for 6 days. And in a statement that was released by the President, Mr. Numakevo was supposed to vacate his office effective September 17, 2024. What it means is that the board chairman, Mr. Seth Panwum, who was appointed board chairman about 3 years ago, will lead the authority until such a time a substantive national director is appointed to head the office responsible for the maintenance of sporting infrastructure. Mr. Numakevo was sacked by the President of the country, President Akufo-Addo, on Tuesday afternoon after CAF withdrew Ghana's license from hosting international football matches at the Bawumia Sports Stadium. And also, Accra House of Oak head coach is Abubakar Ouattara. He's called on supporters of the club to throw their weight behind him and the players to end their poor start to the new Ghana Premier League campaign.
past is past. Let us focus on the rest of the games. We need the fans, to be frank. We need the criticism from the fans. We need them to shout. We need everything. We will do it with them. We play for them. We saw them when we suffer. Some are crying. We apologize. We are going to make effort to go forward. But we are human beings. Sometimes we can make a mistake on the road. But they didn't say we didn't try. These players have confidence on my team. I know this team can deliver. Seriously. But the goal didn't come. The important is the goal. We didn't score the goal. Everything is bad when you didn't get there.
We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com. We appreciate your time.
Let's do some showbiz stories now. An Afrobeat star, King Promise, has a cool attitude towards being left unread by dancehall artist Samboy after the 2024 Telecel Ghana Music Awards. Despite sending a public congratulatory message on X, King Promise didn't receive a reply. But don't worry, he's not losing sleep over it. My colleague Jacqueline Ansomayabwa has more in this report.
After losing the Artist of the Year title at TGMA 2024 to Stonebwoy, King Promise took the high road congratulating Stonebwoy with class on social media. However, when fans noticed that Stonebwoy didn't reply, rumors started swelling like a hit Afrobeat track. Was there a beef brewing between the two stars? Not quite. Stonebwoy explained that there was no bad blood, just an innocent oversight. He admitted that with a flood of messages after his win, he missed King Promise's tweet, honest mistake or royal snap. Fans weren't convinced, but King Promise brushed it off during an interview on Daybreak Hits on Hits FM.
Like, we're cool. Like, I saw last time I saw, I think we were even in Ivory Coast together. We went to see the games. You know, and it was cool vibes. The whole thing I feel like it just became a thing randomly. I didn't expect it to go that way, where the frenzy was quite negative at the point. But then I'm like, man, my energy, I feed it into, you know, positivity and, you know, energy and into my craft. So really and truly, I haven't seen him after that, but I have no problem with him. I think he said it. He said it, we have no problem, you know? People just try to make something out of it, which is expected. You know
you congratulated him after the awards.
I did.
And he did not respond. How did you feel?
Unbothered.
You weren't bothered?
No, unbothered.
In the same interview, King Promise also addressed the mixed reactions to his performance at the TGMAs. He confidently stated that he's proud of his performance, knowing he gave it his all.
It was mainly for aesthetics.
Okay.
It was mainly for aesthetics. You know, moving in the water gives it a little dramatic feel. You understand? And that was the aesthetic we were going for. With like the fits and just singing CCTV and just it being slow. It was aesthetically pleasing. You know what I mean?
And that's how we're wrapping up for Joy News today with me, Sweetie Abochi. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com to stay informed and updated. Many thanks for your time.